Hello, I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum in September, and I'm joined by Graham Down of a company that is new to the Metals Investor Forum because it's a new company, which is Cascadia Minerals. Do you want to tell us how Cascadia came to be?
Absolutely. So as you and maybe some of your viewers know, that I was with ATAC Resources for many years. And about a month and a half ago, we completed the transaction where Hecla took over ATAC Resources, and then we were able to take the copper and gold projects from ATAC, because they weren't the projects that Hecla was looking for, and spin them out into a new company. And that's copper gold focused in Yukon and BC.
And so, I mean, the fact that ATAC even had these copper and gold projects was news to me. I mean, apparently I should have been paying more attention, but ATAC had long been focused on the Hecla project, which is a great project. That's why Hecla bought it. But your team had in recent years just recognized, first of all, copper potential going forward, a copper market that's building, and copper, and then you had a young geologist prospector who came to you with some interesting samples, ideas about a copper belt in BC that exists perhaps in Yukon that hasn't been explored before. So take us through that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this fellow worked for us before, and he had taken advantage of some of the Yukon grants to kind of grow up stake the young prospectors, and spawn activity.
Yukon's great for that.
They are. They're very good. And the beauty of the Yukon is that you can still go out and find areas where people haven't even been before, and that's the case in this project, which is phenomenal. So he brought it to us, and I remember we initially thought we were busy, and we're like, oh, what is this? And we're like, I don't know. And then we were like, well, let's put it by the technical committee. And we're like, wait a minute. And then we all kind of stepped back and like, man, this is actually really good. It's early stage, but it was definitely worth a look.
Okay.
So we ended up doing a deal with this prospector, and over the last year, and then, once we actually got on the field and saw the amount of mineralization, the abundance of it over such a large area, we were just absolutely amazed. We had to increase the size of the property, and we just started doing a lot more work in geophysics, in prospecting, and it's a unique situation because it's brand new. We looked in the old assessment reports; nobody had ever been on the project. If anybody had actually walked those hills, it would have been staked a long time ago. Yeah. There's that much mineralization.
And so that's, paint that picture for us a bit more. There's some photographs in your presentation of blue rocks everywhere. So you guys were and talk about some of the grades of the samples and the soil that that ATAC did last year that Cascadia gets to step into and run with.
So kind of high level from the beginning, we have mineralization over like a 5-kilometer trend. The two main zones, there's the main zone, where he had done a lot of work, and then there's what we call the diorite zone, 2 kilometers away. But when we went into it, kind of to your question about what it looked like, we went to the soil sample areas where he had been, and you start walking, and because it's obviously weathered over a million years, there's malachite there, but it's just really subtle blue, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is all malachite over the slope. and you just keep walking through that, and then long story short, we ended up doing a lot more work, and we got into the main zone where we're getting 1% copper, 3% copper, 2, 5, 8, 10 grams gold. And then down at the diorite zone, we found 3.8% copper and 30 grams gold in outcrop, and which is unheard of. So, where do you put the drill? You put it on top of that outcrop. So it's a lot of fun. It's in an area where nobody had been before, and that's kind of put us into a position where we're like, wait a minute, if this wasn't found, well, what's around here? Because these things kind of come together, just like the Golden Triangle. We have Yukon's kind of Golden Triangle. I don't want to key a term here or anything like that, but we have the same geology that's in the Golden Triangle, goes right up the Stikine Terrane right into the Yukon, and nobody's ever looked for it. So we took that opportunity and just said, listen, we got to go and look for all the low-hanging fruit. We had a team that was dedicated to that this year, and stay tuned for that.
So that's the bigger picture. If this is what you think it is, which is potentially an alkalic porphyry with good copper gold grades at the Catch property, then if this is here, we better move around, grab other things that look like it. At Catch, the property, you're just wrapping up the drill program. You were limited in the number of meters you could do permits wise, but you got 200 or 2,500 meters of drilling, and tell us. No assays yet.
No,
but so far so good.
We have no assays. Absolutely, we have news release that we have seen varying amounts of pyrite, pyrrhotite, and chalcopyrite in the holes. We've had to run them, a number of them, a little bit longer than we wanted. We wanted to do more holes, but because we were seeing some mineralization in the system, I mean, these are the first diamond drill holes ever done on this property. So it's really a bit of you get it, feel it out, and you better run them a little bit long just in case, right? So we've done that. So, it's up to Mother Nature now, but we talked earlier that, for us to be able to hit mineralization on all of the holes, on the maiden program is a huge success. A lot of times I've gone out there and you get absolutely barren rock and you're like, oh, what's going on here? So it's whatever happens, it's going to be a success. We know that we're in a big mineralizing system, and that's to keep where are we in relationship to like the core and these classic diagrams of alkalic porphyries. But we're seeing everything you want to see. You're even seeing down to seeing the platinum and palladium that you see in red Chris. Like all of these little nuances that you kind of want to hear, and we're learning as well,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
And we're very excited, and we've got a lot of great people behind us, and we're very well structured with Barrick. We're sort of Hecla owning 19.9 and Barrick owning almost 8% in management. There's only about 18 million shares in the float, so if we do hit, there's a lot of torque in the stock.
Absolutely. Okay, 2 last questions. You mentioned red Chris, and I just want to return to this concept. So the Stikine Terrane is a big terrain, geologic terrain in British Columbia that hosts the Golden Triangle. A lot of people are focused on the high-grade gold in the Golden Triangle, but the causative stuff of those high-grade deposits are porphyries. Yes. And some of those are incredibly good economic porphyries, like the Red Chris mine, which is just in northern BC, and that terrain continues up into Yukon. And so that's the concept, is that there may be other Golden Triangle type things to be found in this area, but it's the porphyries, the porphyry potential that you're excited about right now at Catch. Right now, and I think you're right. Who knows what we're going to find, because nobody's ever looked there. Yeah. And I mean, there's been here and there little, postage stamps here, but nobody's gone in there and said, hey, we're looking for more alkalic porphyries, focused on that. And that's what we're doing. And you're right, you do get different type of deposits around these things, but bottom line, you're in a fertile district with a highway that goes right up the middle of it. And that was the thing I was just going to get to. When we talk about being in a part of Yukon that nobody's been in before, people might assume that you're in the hinterland, but you are not in the hinterland. Well, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to the Rackle project. And here I am on the weekends. My geology team is like texting me because they get cell coverage. And for me, I know there's a lot of projects that are close to cell coverage. That's not usually a thing in the Yukon. And they're texting me pictures of all of the new mineralization we found. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. It's nice having something a little bit closer to infrastructure. And it's exciting. It's new, and it's not an old story. And we've got a fresh young team that's really excited about what we're doing. Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to see the assay results. So if you could just get the lab to hurry up, that would be great. Absolutely. Thanks so much for bringing the story here, and we'll keep up with it as it carries on. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks.